conversation. Be a part of this conversation. We're starting 2022 off strong with some awesome guests. We are talking about game discoverability, how everybody as players find games, and how developers can make sure that games can be found. So if you have questions, please put them in the live chat. Please engage. We do the streams for the viewers. So who we have here, we are going to talk first with Chris Zagowski from How to Market a Game. He's been all over the place from GDC to the Indie Game Business Summit and quite others. I'm going to get to his bio to give you guys a little bit more about his background. And then after Chris, we'll talk to one of the content creators that we work with on a regular basis, Riz the King. So hopefully you've heard of him and have seen his awesome content. So it's just not me being a part of this live stream. So Adam or Kudakuma in our Until You Fall and I Expect You to Die Discords, he is our live chat moderator. So thank you, Adam. Allie, our marketing coordinator, she will be making sure that all the chapters of the awesome content that Chris and Riz talk about are properly chaptered and captured. Jill, our senior marketing director, making sure that we are able to continue to do this. So thank you, everybody involved behind the camera, making sure that we get this done. So the question that I am going to end with Chris is, in 2022 and beyond, will consumers find new and interesting ways to discover games? But before we get to that question, we have plenty to talk about. He's done several studies about how games can be discovered on Steam and beyond, and how consumers interact with store pages. But let's learn just a little bit more about Chris. Let me find my mouse here. So Chris, he's a game marketing consultant and strategist. He's worked with games as a service companies, indie publishers, just making sure that they can create fantastic Steam pages and setting up email marketing campaigns that fans not only look forward to opening, but also reading and engaging in that content. He's been around the software industry, working with IBM and American Airlines, worked in the health startup world for a little bit, but went back to his love, which is gaming. He started howtomarketagame.com, and I'll make sure I'll put that in the comments or in the video for everybody to take a look at as well. And he is so looking forward to answering all of your questions. So without me talking all the time, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. How are you? Chris, I think I lost you there. If you're able to. Oh, thank you, Adam, for putting the link in the chat. We're having a little bit of difficulty with Chris, but whenever he comes back, there are a couple of things that I am able to answer. So, Agent Ranger, you ask, is game discoverability just ads and content creators that spread it? Not necessarily. We're going to talk a little bit about advertising and working with content creators. So Chris will talk about that, as well as Riz whenever we get to him. But there's a little bit of more that that helps with game discoverability. We're going to talk about the Steam store. We're going to talk about email marketing. We're going to talk about how you spread information with your friends. And like I said, through 2018 to just 2021, just last year, Chris has done a couple of studies to research how consumers find games. So it's not just through advertising, it's not just through content creators, social media is a part of it, and how you interact with your friends through reviews, through spreading the news there. The Brayson and Cameron show asks, So we're able to entertain all types of questions. So from game discoverability and beyond, you're able to ask all your questions. Uh, Brayson and Cameron Show asks, what is Schell Games' ultimate goal for VR, and when will the company be the biggest under your plans? So I'll take the second question first. When will the company be the biggest under your plans? We are all about intentional growth. Our director of HR and talent, Lauren Reed, whenever she talks about how she leads the recruiting efforts for the talent and the uh, game developers in the company. We're all about intentional growth. We are still sticking on emphasis in VR, AR, and your advancing technologies, but we still look at everything. We still do a little bit of everything, not just VR. We still do location-based experiences, mobile, computer games, tablet games, all sorts of that. But whenever we're looking at the type of experiences that we're going to create, we look at what talent we have available and what talent we can use to grow with the company. It's a very good question. Magna Corpus asks, where on the spectrum of not as useful to very useful does word of mouth land in the realm of discoverability? So, from just being in marketing, word of mouth is the most important factor whenever it comes to not just game discoverability, but just marketing in general. What you hear from your friends will never uh, will I will never be able to trump that over ads or using content creators or putting humorous quips on Twitter. What you hear from your friends is going to be the most important thing in your frame of reference. All right, I think we got Chris back.
Hey, sorry. Apparently, I don't have internet anymore. So, what a time to pick it, right? So I'm calling in from a cell phone now. So, hey, everybody, from my tiny phone.
Oh, cool. I was just answering a couple questions that were more, marketing specific, but I think we left off about asking how you were doing, and we can get started with talking about some of your studies.
Great. That sounds great. Let's ask away. Yeah, like I'm sure we heard, I'm a marketing consultant, so I love to answer questions about how to market your game.
Cool. So we'll get started with first. How did you fall into giving marketing advice to indie devs? I talked a little bit about your bio and how games has been your passion, but we didn't look at why they were your passion and how you fell into helping indie devs selling games, especially on Steam. So you can start with that. We'll get to some questions.
That's great. Yeah. So what I started with originally was I don't know why. I just totally consumed by video games. I absolutely have no idea what it is. Just something with my brain. And so I just eventually, you turn 30 for some reason. Some people buy a sports car. Other people decide they need to make video games to fulfill their life. That's what they do when they have their turn 30. And it's amazing. I've been contacted by other people who are like, that was my story too. I turned 30 and then I decided needed to make a game. So I turned 30 and made my game and it didn't sell, which is typical. And then I just started from there and like, well, why doesn't it sell? And then I just started following threads. And then I started blogging about it. This is in about 2010, 2011. And I just started blogging on my own site, and it just kind of took off. And over time, I'm here, and then people just started asking me to talk, and so I just gave a bunch of GDC talks, and I write this weekly blog at howtomarketagame.com. And that's kind of my story. And I don't know why. I'm just like a naturally curious person. So rather than just reading the advice, I was like, well, let me just try this stuff. And I just started tackling my own weird ideas and why things happen the way they do. So that's where I am.
Good stuff. And we have a couple comments. Let's see. James says that Chris's email marketing basics for video games document has been immensely helpful in his community building, game promotion, and fundraising. So thank you for putting out so much content.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of a nut for email marketing. So if I could say my superpower is like I don't get bored by things that should be totally boring. And my boring superpower is I love email marketing, which sounds like somebody I saw on Reddit was like, who's this old boomer talking about email? What an old boomer. First off, I'm a Gen Xer / millennial. I'm actually on the cusp. So to you, Mr. Redditor. But email marketing is secretly like one of the most powerful ways to market your game. The click-through rates are unbelievable. Beat anything that I've ever seen, even Discord, Twitter, anything. The click-through rate on an email just goes through the roof. So it's good to have that as kind of your backbone of your marketing, so that as you're kind of marketing your game, if somebody's like, wow, how do I learn everything about you? You're like, join the mailing list. And then they just follow you. And then you've got this like base reserve of super fans that you can then deploy to do things like give you 10 reviews when it's time to launch your game, or back a Kickstarter, as this commenter mentioned. It's just like a really potent, just like jar that you can hold your deepest followers right there at arm's length.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fantastic advice. I mean, we see that on our end too, that email marketing is not going to go away. So being able to do that and do that well is extremely important. Yep. So then to your point then, what's been the emphasis on moving to Steam or helping people create better Steam stores and Steam presence?
Yeah, well, I originally my first game that I ever made was on Xbox, and then I was like, oh, I'll go to mobile, and then I kind of was like, I was marketing on mobile, and the thing about the mobile audience is it's they don't invest in games. They're not like super interested in them. And I watched, kind of in coordination with your next guest, I was watching streamers, and I was trying to get streamers to play my mobile game. And there's like 3 mobile streamers like on the entire internet. And I think it's just because for whatever reason, the mobile audience just doesn't like invest in games the way they do on the PC kind of side of things. And I was like, that looks so vibrant over there. And so I moved over to the Steam side. I just ported a game over to the Steam side, and I just started making games and reaching out to the community. And it's so fun because everybody that you're marketing to wants to be marketed to. And that sounds weird, but they're like, they want to hear about games. They want to study them. They want to talk about them. Whereas the mobile audience is just kind of like, oh, whatever shows up on your phone that day, whatever's on the top of the app store, they're going to play. And they're like, okay. And then they get tired of it and they move on. There's no like passion about it, which is the total opposite once you get over to the PC side. It's almost too much passion over there. So, but that's what I love about it, is that you can really, create campaigns, you can talk to people. There's so many things to do. It's such a vibrant platform that's why I like it. So that's how I got over there.
Oh no, that's great. Yeah, I totally agree with you with the PC passion is it's palpable. Yeah. There's a lot going on there. Well, cool. So before we get to some of your studies, we have some more questions for you. Anna has a really nice question, and we're about to start work on our second game. We have a large, healthy Discord community connected to our first game. How do you recommend we do the transition from game 1 to game 2 new Discord? Oh, so Anna, did you create another Discord? Looks like they created another Discord for their second game. And I think you talked a little bit about this in one of your studies. So feel free to talk about some of the results of that study to help Anna with their dilemma.
Yeah, I don't know specifically about your situation and the Discords. I personally, this is just me being weird, I would keep the same Discord. And here's the thing is, every time you make somebody basically puddle jump, I just think I'm really into water, like funnels, canteens, containers. It's just an easy way to visualize how to market these things. I kind of see myself as a plumber, where you're just like moving audiences from one container to the next, and you're just moving these folks. Frankly, just to be to answer your question, I wouldn't move them. I would just change the name of my Discord, because every time you try and move, you're going to lose people. And really and it's so brilliant that you're making another game. I'm working on a study right now where I saw how many people are making more than one game, and it's a fraction. Everybody makes one game, it doesn't do well, and then they go on, and with the rest of their lives, they go back to being like accountants or lawyers or something, or whatever people do. So the most important thing, actually, to actually do okay in this industry, you need a lot of time making games. And so I say the best thing is like rolling a snowball. It just has to get bigger and bigger, and you're taking your audience and you're making them bigger. And when you start moving Discords, you leave people behind. Maybe they didn't check it or they didn't see all the alerts. You have to assume that most people are not going to click over. The click-through rate of a Discord is about 20%, 15 to 20%. So that means, 80% of your audience is not going to click the link to go to your next Discord. And so it's like you're starting over. It's like Groundhog Day. You're starting over the game. The best thing to do is build this audience that keeps growing and growing. So every game you make, it's bigger and bigger. So if it's not too late and you haven't confused people too much, I would just stick with the same Discord. Maybe throw a new name on there, new icon, and hey, then you don't have to move. It's like, why move when you can just enjoy the view?
No, that's great. Yeah, so thank you. And Anna's through the comments, and you might see it too, Chris, that she said that they were thinking about it, but now that they haven't done it yet, but they just said that was super helpful, and thank you. Didn't mean to throw that typo up there, but yeah, so thank you for that.
Glad I caught you before it happened.
Yeah. Oh man, so we have so many questions, so we're gonna go through these. Brandon asks, do you think it's important to have a place where you regularly share updates on the development process of your game? Could it help make it more personal and grow a community?
Yeah, and this is kind of what I talk about as the canteen, your base support, where everybody knows where you're going. I actually will say two. One, I like email, just because it's actually kind of easy once you kind of get the hang of it. You just send the things out. You can do it once a month, whatever. I don't like Discord as much, I'll be honest. But the reason is because it's relying on the community chatting with each other. And at certain points in your game development, it's like trying to keep a 24-hour party going. And then, how it's like when you're running a party, you always have to make sure the chips are filled and the dip is there and the music's going and it's just so much. So sometimes for a Discord, I kind of like to just kind of keep it on a low simmer and only turn it up when I'm ready to do my campaign. So you can run a Discord, but I just don't think that should be your default. I like an email list because all you have to do is send an email once a month or twice a month, whatever you're comfortable with. You don't have to worry about that constant uptick, and you don't have to worry about trolls that you got to kick out and stuff. And then also a good one is Steam. You can send these events or updates, and the Steam platform is really, they keep telling us to great events, great events, great events. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, okay, if you're saying it, we should probably do it. So I also like to do a blog post if you're doing a game update to your event page. So, and you can reuse content across all of them. And the reason is, as much as I love email, I know not everybody's going to give me their email address, but they might wish list and follow my Steam game. And so I do the same content to both spots. It's not too hard. And you could also do it to your Discord. You can just, create a long post in one of your channels. So I consider those three platforms are a good, what I call mid-funnel, which is, again, back to my water thing. What's with me and water? I don't know. But it's basically the people who are like, yeah, this game, these people are cool, I want to hang out with them. That's the mid-funnel. And the mid-funnel is email, Discord, and your Steam event page. So hitting those dev updates in those three channels, that's awesome.
Good stuff. Let's see, James has a question. Here it is. Can you point me to concrete examples or templates for the initial and follow-up messaging that works best for email marketing campaigns?
Concrete examples. Okay. James, nothing in this world is concrete, my friend. Who knows? We got a pandemic going on. No, then we can't trust anything anymore, right? So, so James, let's see what we can do. Templates. Well, I mean, if I could say, go to howtomarketagame.com/free. I honestly, Dwayne, I didn't set this up. James asked, howtomarketagame.com/free. Sign up for my mailing list and you get a free book. I tell you all the different ways to email your mailing list, good things to send them, good ways to engage with them. You join my mailing list, but as a special token of my thanks, I'll send you this book. And I give you all the kind of like campaigns that you should send. Hey, look at that. That link came up. I just, this is magic. So that is a great way to kind of see those things. And if you're looking at the graphic design for email, especially if you're an indie studio, I like to keep the email design very simple. Not a lot of colors. One, it's harder to manage all the like responsiveness with all the mobile devices or computers and all that stuff. But two, it just feels more authentic when it's coming from not an overly graphic designed email template. It's just like, hey, it's Chris here, sending you an email. So I don't go crazy with the templates. Just a nice image of your logo, your company logo, an image of your game, and then just a little bit of about your game and all that, and you should be pretty good.
Good deal. And then you have a nice comment about your background right there.
This is interior design chat for the second half.
That's right. That's right. Let's see. So, and then for just a piggyback off that on my just what general marketing bias, there's a website called Really Good Emails that you can look at a lot of different templates for lead generation, for product follow-up, so things like that. So Really Good Emails could definitely piggyback off exactly what Chris said.
Dwayne, we should go on the road together. Just selling this
that's
stuff.
Right.
Come on, let's do it.
That's right. Just spitting knowledge. I love it.
I love it.
Let's see. So, Sylvia had a good question. Man, you're getting nothing but questions, Chris. I hope we get a chance to talk to you about your studies, but
I don't care. I don't want to talk about.
Okay, great. So Sylvia asks, do you recommend launching your Steam page without a trailer, which I don't think you're able to do, but should you try to at least capture some gameplay in a polished state?
Good question. This is an excellent question. First, yes, you can launch without a trailer, but really? I wouldn't recommend it. Okay. And this is why. When you launch your game on Steam, it's an excuse to get some PR, some promotion. Like you can go to press outlets or streamers or other people, or even on Twitter, and just say, I'm announcing a new game. And there's this thing called an announced trailer, which is just a trailer. And if you put the word announce in the title of it, it gets you extra PR. I don't know why. It's just the way our weird brains work. The press is like triggered to like write about you if they see the word announced trailer. So if you launch your Steam page without a trailer, you gave up the chance to get free PR manifested out of nothing just because you use the word announce. It's so weird. Marketing doesn't make sense. You just got to learn these things. And so what I would do is wait, have a trailer when your graphics are kind of secured and you've got like I'd say like 3 environments that look kind of good, or at least 3 angles that look unique. And those 3 unique angles could kind of be interpreted to be 3 different types of parts of the game, because you want to show depth when you're doing your trailer. And then make a trailer. And the thing that you should never, ever, ever release a trailer without is a nice screen at the end that has a call to action that says, wish list our game on Steam, and then the name of your game so that people go over to Steam and they wish list it. That's the most important thing. So get a trailer and don't launch your Steam page without it.
Oh man, like those call to actions or those CTAs, they are crucial. Yeah.
Oh, it hurts my heart when I watch a really cool trailer and then it just ends on a blank screen. I'm like, ay, ay, ay.
That's right. It's like you did so much and then you did here and got them to do
You're at the
nothing.
1 yard line.
That's it. That's it. Or, you could be the Bills and give the Chiefs 13 seconds. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. Let's see. Jordy asks, when you first started Discord and no one's joined just yet, do you still give updates even though you're just talking to yourself?
This is why this question, you're picking the best questions. Jordy, you set me up. That is exactly why I'm like, I don't start a Discord right away because it's the party. And it's like, have you ever gone to the party and somehow you ended up the first one there and you're like, oh God. And like the person's like, hey, Chris, and you're like, hey, and then it's just like the 2 of you awkward looking at each other for like half. That's what it's like when you start a Discord too early. I hear you. It's so awkward. And then you're like, honey, I'm ready to go when you are. And then she's like, yeah, let's get out of here. And then you leave. And it's like the party hasn't started yet, but it's so awkward. You just don't want to hang out. That's what that's why you don't start your Discord too early. So what I say, this is my pro tip. Nobody knows on your email list how many people are on the email list. They don't know. That's the beauty of email lists. You could be like, hey, we're the biggest, email list, and it's like 2 other people. But it's like you and your mom. So here's what I recommend. Start a mailing list. Get a big thing. Don't pull your Discord link off of your Steam page if you have that. A lot of people put the Discord link. Pull that off. Put your email list. Sign up. Start building the email list or Twitter. And then when your game is closer, and I usually like to time it when you launch a demo, because people like to chat about the game. And if you don't have a game to play, they're not going to chat. Like the thing they like to chat about is like, oh, what's the strategy? How do I get the elven armor? Or how do I +2 my sword? Or how do I get the dual wielding? That's what they want to chat about. But if they're just looking at trailers and screenshots, there's nothing to chat about. So that's why I say hold on the Discord. I know all the cool kids get Discords, but hold it. Don't do it yet. And then when you get a big mailing list, you get a good Twitter following, and you launch your demo, boom, then launch the Discord, send everybody in there, and then the party's going. Then there's people chatting, going all this stuff. There's no requirement to start a Discord right away, no matter what the cool kids say. So just pull down the Discord, or just don't advertise it anymore, and then you don't have to worry about keeping the dips filled and the party going. So that's my bet.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, you're right. Showing up to a party early or first is kind of the worst.
Yes. Be like Beyonce. Beyonce shows up like the last 10 minutes of the party.
I mean, let's be honest. Beyonce shows up when they want to show up. Right?
Yeah, that's when the party starts.
Yeah. It's like, okay, party's begun. All right, cool, man. So, guys, we got 2 more questions for Chris, and then we're going to move on to Riz. But Chris is going to stick around. So, Chris, if you want to go through the chat to answer the questions that we don't get to, that would be greatly appreciative. So,
I will definitely be there.
Awesome. So, Jelly Wollstonecroft, I love it, asks, is it hard to get a game to succeed since your company is not as famous as other companies?
It is. And this is kind of what I was talking about. The graph of devs who make more than one game is so slim. You're not supposed to succeed on your first game. Somewhere, somebody said that that's the normal. It's not. You're not supposed to succeed on your first game. A restaurant doesn't become popular the first night of the restaurant opening. It takes like nights and word of mouth. So what you do is you launch a game that you know is going to fail. Release it fast. You build up your name. You build up your reputation. You make friends. You get invited to Q&A shows all the time, and you build that audience, and then your second and your third game are what become popular. You're not supposed to have a hit on your first game. It's a really weird anomaly. That never happens with businesses. Businesses take years before they start making money. So I don't know. It is hard. I totally get it. But don't feel bad if your first game doesn't succeed. Just price in releasing multiple games.
There you go. Good stuff. And let's see, let's get one more. Brian asks, and this one question goes to one of your studies on the show notes I created for all of us. Brian asks, would you say that there's higher value in organic posting, say Reddit, or reaching out to streamers to cover a game?
Okay, so the order, and this is one of the studies I did where I just asked 85 games, where did you get all your wish lists? So I looked at every spike for 85 games to see where all the spikes came from. Here it is in order where wish lists come from. Number 1 is festivals, online festivals, not in-person ones, online ones. Number 2 is streamers. Number 3 is Reddit. Number 4 is the press. Number 5 is TikTok. Number 6 is Imager, but Imager doesn't work anymore, so we throw that one out. Number 7 is Twitter. That's the order of where you get wish lists. So with that, the thing comes streamers before Reddit. There is a little slight variation in some of those because some games actually do better than others. Like if you have a really cute animal game with big eyes, floppy ears, Twitter is your game. Like you are going to get so many likes and retweets and follows on Twitter if you have a cute game. Whereas if you have a cool like guns game, that's going to be on like streamers or Reddit is going to do really well there.
Good stuff. So, Chris, please stick around in the comments. Feel free to answer the questions that were asked in the first half hour already. How did this
part of that
come
was
by?
technical difficulties. What was I doing?
That's right. That's right. So, Chris, we're gonna have to have you back so we can talk some more again. But thank you so much. So now,
time.
thank you, sir. So yeah, please stick around and answer whatever you would like in the comments. So man, that was great. So now we're gonna move to our part 2. We have one of the content creators that we work with on a regular basis. He is generous enough to give some of his time to work with us. This is Riz the King, avid content creator across YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. You can talk about all the social networks that you do.
That's
Riz.
all, yeah.
So, Chris, thank you so much for your time. I'm so excited to talk to both of you. I wish I had an hour for both of you. That there's so many.
That was awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Chris is awesome. I've learned a lot actually through that. So.
and Riz, thank you for spending some of your regular streaming time to come and hang out with us.
That's an honor. It's an honor more than anything. It's always good to come join you, man. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's like I say, it's nice to come on and sort of chill and chat with like-minded people. So
yeah, so I just said a little bit about you. So feel free to continue to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit how you fell into or chased being a content creator and what you do now.
Well, yeah, I think fell into it's probably a right way of describing it. To be honest, it was sort of it was something I did on a whim. I didn't originally start in VR either, but but what happened is when I got my PSVR, I literally got it on release day, and then it just took over. I was just like, this thing is so cool. It's so cool to be in VR, and virtual reality just took over from there on, and then just slowly it took over more and more of the channel until it became entirely VR stuff. And here we are today, and all I do is VR. It is my life pretty much at this point.
All you do is VR. Okay, I wasn't too sure about that. So I had some questions just in case it wasn't just VR, but it is all VR.
Yeah. I mean, I play occasionally games with friends if they don't play VR. But past that, everything's VR for me nowadays. I love it.
Good stuff. So there was a question earlier while Chris was talking about. I wanted to save it for you. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, so I guess it's like for you and me. So it was like, Here Lies Fred, and it's like, how does VR game marketing differ from traditional marketing? VR is so tough to convey to people that haven't tried it. So I guess I'll take it from a VR marketing standpoint, but I'd love for you to talk about it of how you create your VR content to get people to understand the immersion of it, or like what exactly you're doing. So you can go first.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So for me, like, it's a very difficult thing because honestly, watching a video, it's super hard to really show people what it's like to be in VR, because a lot of people think like, well, if I just hold my screen up real close, is that what it's like? It's like, nah, dude. Yeah. So for me, I try and make it like every action I'm doing purposeful, really show how immersive everything is, try and pick things up and, really just throw myself into it. Like some things I do as well, like I really get involved with pretending I'm the character sort of thing and stuff like that. And I think like doing things like that really show people what they're in for when they go into VR. And it's what separates it from just sort of flat screen gaming, is that immersion level that you can get when you go into a game, And I think that from my perspective, that's how I try and sort of convey everything I do, is just, it's different. And it's like, imagine being involved in this scenario, or imagine being in your favorite action movie or whatever it be that you're interested in playing, So I think it's just like a whole different thing altogether.
Good stuff. Yeah, and I would say for a on a standpoint for me, I gotta find the question again. About the VR gaming and how interesting it can be. It's similar to to what Riz is saying, it's like, okay, well, here's this thing, like talking about talking with Chris about the online festivals. We're still trying to figure out of how we do VR games on online festivals, because it's just so cool to see somebody try VR for the first time in person, or new experience in person. So trying to bring that wow or that magic moment for us is still something. Oh, thank you, Adam, for highlighting it for me. Yes, it is tough to convey, like that magic, that wow moment is hard to bring that online or virtually versus in person. But there are some companies who are doing a good job. We're just on the tail end of figuring that out.
Yeah, I think one of the things I really like at the moment is the trailers where they're doing with people in them. You know what I mean? Like where they use the at-live and stuff like that. I think those sorts of things do a really good job of showing off what a game's like, and seeing someone in there then really helps translate a bit more what it's like, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, Riz. Like, I was, to be honest, at the very outset of it, I was pretty skeptical. I was like, well, yeah, why would people want to watch other people like in a VR thing? But to your point, it's like, oh, they're imagining themselves being in it. Like, that is what I would look like, right? Because
Exactly, yeah.
it's still self-preservation, right? You still want to look, be aware of what you look like whenever you're doing those experiences. It's like, oh, that's it. So see, Here Lies Fred has a nice question for you. With VR streaming having fewer people watching those categories, how do you increase the chances of people finding your streams? So yeah, so about game discoverability, and this is one of the questions I was going to ask you anyway. Whenever you're looking for games or discovering games, how do you discover them? How do your fans discover them? And how do you increase the chances of people finding your stream?
I think increasing chances is trying to find things that are relatable to sort of pancake games at the moment. So if you can try and say this is like this is why you should watch it because it's relevant to something else that you already know, but this is different. You can sort of draw people in a little bit off the back of stuff like that. I think that helps a lot. Finding games is difficult. It's kind of like probably the most busy part of what I do is actually connecting with developers and trying to line up getting on games and stuff like that. Twitter's a huge help for me because following a lot of developers, luckily a lot of developers share a lot of other developers stuff, so it kind of helps you stay in the loop with things. And in between creators, a lot of us talk anyway and say like, have you heard about this? Check out this. So that's kind of how I get a lot of the discoverability stuff down. And yeah, like I say, I mean, helping discover it is super hard. I mean, everything is about the thumbnail and the title, because without that, people just don't click. So you just got to have something like, say, try and relate it to something else that they already understand. And then once they get in and you can give them just the first couple of minutes, like, hey, this is what this is, then you sort of hook them in. And I think that's the way I do it.
So this wasn't one of my questions, but I wanted to ask you, how did you discover VR? You said that you started with a PSVR. What piqued your interest?
Honestly, I've been really interested in it, and all like all the dev kits have been going out for the Oculus stuff at that time. People were starting to buy them, and Jacksepticeye was a channel I was watching at that time. He was playing around with them, and it was just one of those things that really interest me. And ever since I was a kid, I always used to say like the peak of it is going to be when you can be in the game, when you can actually be in it. And so it intrigued me, and then it became quite affordable all of a sudden with the PSVR coming out, and I was just like, this is it, man. I'm just going to commit day one, buy into it. And it just sort of like escalated from there. And then obviously sort of like, get hungry and you're like, okay, what's PC VR like? Then I'll try that. Okay. So go in for that. And then we are sort of where we are nowadays with kind of Quest and stuff like that taking back over. So it's doing that weird thing again, but I think it's going to level out again soon. Who knows?
Sure. Let's see. Travel Inman has Riz, tell us how content creators and game devs could improve VR content. Any ideas on what infrastructure needs to be implemented?
That's a tough one.
There's a lot in there. So
yeah.
Yeah. So not just so I guess one thing we're trying to look at too, it's like, well, here's this VR game. People like watching VR and like watching streamers play VR. So I guess let's break that down a little bit. What capabilities in not just capabilities, but features or I guess add-ons to a VR game as a content creator that you would like to have? As you mentioned, Live or some sort of software that you can have for people to watch people be in it. But is there anything else that would make you streaming a VR game
I
easier
think,
to do?
yeah, I mean, actually, I was speaking about this today with someone. A lot of developers are now starting to implement like a smooth camera. So for the spectating camera, which you record your perspective from to make the videos and stuff, a lot of people are starting to implement like a smooth camera for that. So it gets like it's really nice rather than, because obviously your head is all over the place. I kind of train myself to be a bit more like this when I'm playing now, so so that you don't get it as much. But tools like that are super, super valuable for content creators, and they help us obviously make the best first impression for anyone clicking on the videos and watching it. Because the last thing you want to watch is like some motion sickness, I think tools like that are super useful. I think to do with the other part of the question, things that should be in games, I would like just like those general rules of locomotion being all of the accessibility options should be standardized in games, because even now, unfortunately, still we get games come out and they're like, oh, you don't want to just teleport, or oh, you don't just want snap turning. So options like that, it would be nice to see that sort of stuff get standardized. And I think majority it has, but still somehow people are getting it wrong. I don't want to say any names, but but they get it wrong somehow.
Sure. Yeah. No. Yeah, we're not calling anybody out in this streams, but no. I think being able, I agree with you, because I think that goes with like accessibility. Like it's more comfortable for some people in VR versus others, right? So being
Yes,
able to have those motion options helps out a lot.
And seated as well. Like still, that's one of the things that seems to get forgotten about sometimes. Seated options because of disabled users, or even people like there's a guy I know who's kind of poorly. So for him, he finds it incredibly hard to stand up for extended periods of time. And again, like some games, they end up missing out on because of that, which is kind of sucks. No one should have to miss out on stuff. So I think that's a really cool thing that is nice to have. Is keep it inclusive, and probably the other one that's actually a weird one, but it comes up more and more recently, is left-handed options. Like it's one of those ones that somehow gets overlooked a lot. I mean, I'm right-handed, so I'm all right, but it's but a couple of friends of mine, they get really stuck with some games and they just can't get into it, or reloading super hard in some games because they can't switch over. So
Sure.
so, yeah,
As a left-hander, I am offended that all developers don't. No, I'm not. But I mean, I am left-handed, but I don't get offended. So
we should be, but stand up for this, Fight
yeah,
for the
that's right. Me and my left-handed brethren. Mark asks you if there's something to make VR better, what would it be?
Ooh, I think something I'm really interested to try, something I haven't tried, but I think is haptics. Like there's some really interesting things going on with haptics at the moment, and I think adding to your immersion in any game is super duper important. And like I say, unfortunately I haven't tried it yet, but I feel like from some of the people I've spoken to that have, they say it just adds something that you just can't. It's just like the final piece of the puzzle. I think bringing that feel into a game is super important. So for me, that's kind of the thing that I think is going to be the big game changer, especially since things are getting smaller and more affordable now. We're getting into the realm of it becoming something that's possible, that Ready Player One level of VR.
That's right. I mean, with VR and the metaverse, like who knows what's going to happen with the future.
I know, right?
It's super exciting. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. This is from Jordan. Jordan from YouTube, if I can find it. But he asks, or they ask, sorry, Jordan, I don't know your orientation. what do you want developers to cold email you, or do you use different key mailing sites, or how do you connect with developers whenever you're looking for games?
So personally, I don't use the key mailing services at all because I kind of find it a bit impersonal. So I like to actually, I mean, I prefer to reach out to developers myself. It's really nice when they reach out to me as well. I super appreciate that. Either one of those where you actually sort of bond a bit of a relationship with them. That's what I like. So getting to know either the community manager or the developer themselves, like I don't know, something about that makes it feel a lot nicer when I can actually have that conversation with people and. Yeah, that's why it's weird, but I don't use the key mailing things because of that. It just feels like it breaks that away from it, and you can't give feedback to them through stuff like that either. It's just here's a key, do what you want, that's that sort of thing. So yeah, I kind of I enjoy the fact that I can sort of reach out and chat to devs if I need to, or ask a question, or say, hey, I saw this is coming, let's talk about it. So for me, I think that's the important thing. And yeah, if you're doing YouTube, then definitely growing a relationship with lots of developers, and devs talk to each other as well, so your name gets around, and I think that's important, man.
Oh yeah, no, I'll tell you, yeah, straight up, there are communities that I'm a part of with other developers. It's like, hey, have you worked with this person? And like, ooh, or yeah, definitely work with them. So yeah, just like content creators talk to other content creators, devs talk to other devs about the type of content creators they work with. Magna VR, they ask you, have you found a good way to manage your stream from within VR? Or do you have any recommendations?
Well, I mean, personally, I tend to be doing a lot more content creation over streaming. But when I have done streaming, there's a few different ways that you can do it. I'm trying to think of the product name. Hang on one second. I'll pull it up. But there's a couple of ways to do it, which is opening up windows and stuff like that, attaching them to your hands, and you can read the chat and stuff like that. It is quite difficult. There isn't any really solid tools to use for that sort of stuff, unfortunately. Built into Steam, there is a couple of options where you can attach windows to your hands. That's quite useful. But again, it's quite a hard thing to do streaming VR because you are putting that barrier between you and your audience when you put a headset on. So it does make it quite hard.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think it's hard on multiple fronts too, right? Because it would be so great to have that type of interaction within the game for the content creators. Like, okay, yeah, I'm playing a game and now I can interact. But yeah, that itself is a very difficult question to solve on the developer's end.
Yeah. It kind of almost needs a very specific program being made that works for everything. It's not something that I don't think the game can do itself, otherwise it'd be sort of locked into that one thing.
That's right. So whoever likes to make that type of software, there you go. There's a market.
Any devs out there?
Excellent. Let's see. Hey, Alex P. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. There's another question here for you. Brandon asks, different Brandon asks, in regards to haptics, do you think it's important to always have a physical controller?
Yes, I do think so. Yeah, personally, I haven't seen maybe not in the future, but for now at least, there is not a solution better than a controller, in my opinion. Like, I do think that we could do with finding something, but what the answer to that question is it's incredibly hard to answer, man. Hand tracking is not good enough. And yeah. I don't like teleporting, sort of pinching the air as I go through the world. So for me, yeah, give me a controller any day of the week and I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we've gotten that question too. If we're going to with some of our games, or we're going to support like the hand tracking and the pinching and the moving forward, and it's still unclear, right? It's still unclear on. I think having those controllers, like you were saying, to still be a part of the experience, I think is still pretty important.
Yeah, it's just like, again, it gives you like that physical bond to something as well. If you are grabbing something, even though it's not the right shape or anything, it's still just that physically grabbing something just makes it feel good. I think a few games have done it well with hand tracking, don't get me wrong. And I think like if you're stationary in a game, you can probably get away with it. But when you're moving around, there's no better way than a joystick. You know, I don't want to go back to Steam VR ones or anything like that with the touchpad. Give me a joystick.
Yeah. Alex comments that we need some type of haptic gloves of some sort, and that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, there's some being developed. I don't,
Sure.
Be Haptics, I think, are making a pair at the moment that are affordable. And there's lots of like those restrictive ones that are being made, but they are crazy money. So, give it another couple of years, let it sort of filter down to consumer prices. But we'll get there, and I think perhaps something in the middle of that where you still have a thumbstick attached to like your finger, maybe. If you could meet in the middle of all of that sort of stuff. But we'll see. That's future stuff, and it's only going to get more affordable as we go through it, right? So
yeah, it was funny. I was having a conversation with somebody in our studio, and we were just talking about like what the future looks like in terms of technology. And he had a really interesting thing saying that the future of VR could be just peripherals, right? So instead of having just one set of controllers, you have a VR gun, or you have a VR grappler, or you have VR gloves, or you have a VR spear, and so you would go to your VR room. It's like, you know what? Today's a gladiator day. And so you put on the headset, you get your gladiator spear, and then you're ready to do some work, right? So, the way to have something to collect that could be kind of cool.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Be like Wii accessories back in the day,
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah. I think VR is such an interesting place for that, though, because honestly, it just takes one product that will sort of reshape the whole way we look at it. And I think it's kind of one of the things that's also exciting about it right now, because we're still, it's in its infancy of development on everything, right? So it's crazy exciting. I want to see where it ends up, though. If someone could just tell me what it's like in 5 years, I'd be excited.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Seriously, he's like, please tell us the future. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. So just a little bit more about you and the type of games that you play. So what's your ratio if you don't or if you feel like sharing, of the games that you discover versus the games that your audience or your subscribers tell you that they want to see you play?
I mean, I'd say probably like 95% of it is what I'm picking. And then off the back of that is more what they enjoy, I will then repeat and revisit. So it kind of works that way, at least with my audience. It tends to be, I pick the games and then they say, no, play that again. I'm happy to come back. It just, it's like a nice sort of feedback with stuff like that. I find the issue is if you just listen, then I would end up playing the same 5 games over and over and over again. So it's, you have to find that sort of halfway point. I did get stuck doing that once, and it was about 3 months of playing the same games, and I need that variety. So
yeah, well, I like that. I like that, using your audience more of an encore. It's like, oh, you know what? I should return to play that. That's a good idea, and that adds with that, with the theme of the discussion, that discoverability, because there's a reason why your audience wants to see that again. So, Is there a game on the top of your mind that your audience wanted you to revisit?
Anything sandboxy, anything where essentially, I guess, I'm in control of what's going on in the game, because I think anything like that people like, because kind of leads just to like this whole improv situation. I think people always relate to those games the easiest, and then I think past that, it's kind of difficult, because a lot of other games you've kind of got your set genres, right? You've either got things that have got a story that you can't really replay again, unless you get into like speed running or something, and then you've got your sandbox games, and then you've just got like the brand new game, have a look at this, move on to the next kind of game. So it's it tends to be more sandbox orientated things that people want to repeat see on the channel.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, what's a recent game that a streamer or a content creator that you watched and you're like, oh, I need to play that game? Is there something on the top of mind or recent that's happened to you for that?
I mean, I'm very fortunate that I tend to get to play things before most people.
Ooh, lucky
So,
you. Yeah.
ooh. I'm very lucky with that. So it's
Yeah.
so yeah, it doesn't. I haven't really had that in a little while, to be honest with you. If I'm being genuine, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things I recommend to people. You better play this. It's good.
Okay. Well, good for you. So you're in the first party. So what's the last game that you referred that you're able to say? I know there you play a couple of games that haven't been released yet, but what's a game that's been released that might be under the radar that you've been talking to other content creators like, hey, you know what? You should probably check this out.
God, that's a hard question. That is a hard question.
I know I didn't have you prepare for this
Yeah.
one. It just popped up on my mind.
Trying to think. I think probably Into the Radius. That's a really good example of that.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've ever heard of that game. It's like an extreme survival game. It's a tough one.
Repeat the name.
Into the Radius, it's called.
Into the Radius. Okay. No, I haven't heard of it. Yeah.
It's a super hard sell to tell someone like it's going to be really hard. It's kind of like your Dark Souls of games, you know. So
Okay.
it's punishing and it's hard, but that's probably one that's under the radar that I like to recommend people. And not everyone knows about it or looks at it and they're not sold just from a trailer, you know. So.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see. Has there been? I don't know. Oh, I do like this. So while we're on the point of you being how you create content and how you share content,
Yes.
what's one thing about being a content creator that people who aren't in that realm just wouldn't know or wouldn't have the right information to ask? Whether it's like for you, since you don't really stream too much, you really do the content creation of it. Like, how much time does it take to put in a video, or what do you what
So do you mean like
features or
behind the scenes
characteristics
sort
of
of
your
stuff?
video? Oh, go ahead.
Do you mean like behind the scenes sort of stuff?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
what
yeah,
goes
yeah.
into doing it sort of thing? I think, yeah, definitely people don't realize how much time goes into making a video. Like per video, I normally record for about an hour-ish, depending on the game. Then you edit for about 4 hours-ish. Then probably another hour and a half, or depending on the thumbnail, probably about an hour and a half for that. And then again, probably about another hour doing metadata and stuff like that for the video and making it work. So each video, really is about half a day worth of work to actually make it happen. Yeah. I mean, you could make it easier on yourself, but I kind of, after doing it for so long, I like the process of doing it all, which is why I stay up crazy late every day. But, but a lot of work goes into it. I think a lot of people see an 8 or a 10-minute video and they're like, oh man, that must be so easy. You just record and slap it on YouTube and that's that. And so I think, yeah, people don't understand how much time goes into it to sort of make a good video.
Yeah, yeah. I think, like, thankfully, working with you and others, and talking to folks who believe that myth that it's so easy to just slap on a video and try to get away with just giving you guys a key and just going after it. It's like, oh, that's these content creators are professionals, right? Like, you guys are doing this for for a living, or at least a strong side hustle. Like, being able to treat content creators like you with respect, I think is very, very important. And as game discoverability becomes harder and harder, being able to work with content creators that are professional, that have that relationship is only going to become more and more important. All right,
Yeah,
so
100%. Yeah.
we got a couple more questions for you, so I can get off my pedestal here. Let's see. Magna also asks, what draws your attention to new games, trailers, something else?
I think trailers are always the initial sort of hit, right? So if something catches your eye like that, it's just there's always something special about a good trailer. And I think you guys were talking about it earlier, especially with the end cards and stuff. Important. Let me know where it is, what platforms it's on, please. But yeah, a good trailer goes a long way, right? Because for me, I tend to, you catch them hit you on Twitter or on Reddit or something like that, and you're just like, as soon as it grabs your attention, it pulls me in. Then I'm firing off that email. Please, let me play. So definitely,
No, good stuff. I mean, I think we try to make sure we keep all of our content creators like ahead of the game. I was like, hey, we're coming out with this, but sometimes just hearing from the content creators and just like you said, making sure they know where to find us. That it's very important to make sure. Let's see. Sylvia says, thank you, Chris and Riz, for offering the Q&A. It's nice to get out of one's own head. This is why we do this. We try to peel back the curtains a little bit so everybody can see what we do, who we work with, who we listen to. So thank you for that. And with that, I do have one last question for you, Riz. If there was one way, or if there was an easier way for you to discover games to play, what would that look like?
Now, I wish there was like a place for creators. I wish I could create it myself, but I just haven't got time. But I wish there was a place for us just to have a universal place to sort of share the keys with each other and talk to each other, and almost like a Discord group of all the developers. That'd be nice.
All developers, all content creators, and we're just talking.
Oh man, it'd be a mess, but yeah, so
that would be interesting. That would be interesting. Yeah.
God. But yeah, all seriousness, for me, it's just I mean, that would be ideal, but I don't know a better way of doing it. I mean, I know that Oculus is doing some stuff with creating communities to be able to share the keys and talk to each other and stuff like that, the ambassador program and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I think more programs like that are really useful. So the more that people involve each other like that, I think it's a really good thing. I'm kind of hoping that maybe PlayStation will do something similar when they drop the PS2. And I mean, maybe Steam, but they're quite hard to sort of deal with stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think like ambassador programs, that'd be a really nice way to go, because then you still keep the relationship with developers, and it's a good way of staying in the loop with stuff, because it is quite hard to sort of stay in the loop with everything that's going on. So like going back to what you were saying earlier, I really appreciate stuff like that when you guys reach out and like, hey, this is happening or whatever, that sort of stuff. It goes a long way to help make my job easier, figuring out how I'm going to do stuff. And definitely a piece of advice for any developers out there, like giving content creators time is super duper important. Like a couple of weeks or a week ahead of the release of something, when you want the videos to be dropping, like you wouldn't believe how often I get an email like the day before and they're like, you can make a video. Just make a video. And you're like, yeah.
I was like, I could. It won't be good. Yeah.
So stuff like that. Time is always important and stuff like that. So.
Well, cool. Well, thank you, Riz. Thank you, everybody. Man, Chris, not just on the video, but just handling that chat. Riz, thank you so much for your time and your time on the chat too, while Chris was on the video. If you guys haven't already, visit Riz's channel, subscribe, see his awesome content. No joke. Before we told Riz that Agatha's the name of the person for Until You Fall, your spirit guide, he always called her Janet, and it was so fantastic. So he gets in the character of the warrior. Please watch it. It is worth your time. Our developers absolutely loved it. That's how I was introduced to Riz. Our developers were like, we have to work with this guy. And
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Please watch his content. For Chris, just like he said, howtomarketagame.com. If you go to howtomarketagame.com/free, you get all sorts of free resources for those who are interested in just game design, game development, or just what's going on in the game. For us, we're everything slash Schell Games. So on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you have it. Please, we're inviting more people to join us for dinner with the devs time and time again. I think we're going to make this more of a thing to talk to more content creators, to talk to Chris more often, to get all of you fantastic people are on our channel to just tell us what you're doing, what you're looking to do from us, and how the consumers can help you guys with your thing. Some announcements. Make sure you like, subscribe, and enable your notifications if you subscribe to our channel, so you can see what other videos we're putting out. Future events. We are going to hopefully start doing more events. Once I signed some papers, I'm able to tell you all the places we're going to. But until that point, we are going to be at some events to be announced. Game announcements. Lost Recipes coming out tomorrow. Your casual VR cooking game. Riz has some content for you tomorrow, as well as some of our other fantastic content creators. So please be on YouTube. Look around for the store. The store will go live sometime tomorrow morning / early afternoon. So look for that. Look at how Riz is a future ghost chef in the making. So we're super excited about that. The I Expect You to Die bundle. We're doing a bundle for the Meta Quest, so you can get I Expect You to Die 1 and I Expect You to Die 2 for a special price of, I think it's $39.99, so it's a $20 discount. If you haven't gotten in any of the games yet, make sure you do it. And again, Riz did some great content for I Expect You to Die 1 and 2. And next month, I believe it's going to be February 16th, we're going to be cooking with Lost Recipes. So we're going to have some people from the dev team on the channel. We're going to be doing some type of cooking activity. What exactly that's going to be and how it's going to work, tune in to find out. The answer may surprise you.
I want to see you do
Chris, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Have a good night, and I'll see you next month.
Take care.